Good morning. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Kurt Wilkin. Kurt is the co-founder and visionary for HireBetter, which is the strategic talent partner for entrepreneurial middle market growth-minded companies. Kurt is a recovering CPA and a self-professed bad accountant and bad manager. But he is a 3-time successful entrepreneur and now as a freed up visionary living the EOS life. He devotes his time to helping other entrepreneurs unlock their success. Cisco is an integrator at HireBetter. He began his career at Deloitte & Touche and then Dell. Prior to HireBetter, he served as integrator for 3 mid-market companies in Austin before he knew the role he was playing was that of an integrator. Cisco is actually a good CPA. He's got an MBA from Michigan, and he has found his calling in the integrator seat as CEO. In his spare time, Cisco loves to play with spreadsheets, and he's damn good at it.
Let's go. Thank you, Jim. Hey, today we want to talk about 3 things: the visionary and integrator relationship and how we can leverage our strengths to make us and help us hire better. Second thing we want to talk about is helping you think differently about talent, more of a strategic approach. And the third thing is the concept of what we call next level talent. You might call it A players, rock stars, game changers, whatever vernacular you use. And we'll probably interchange some of those terms. What does it look like to identify great talent? How do you recruit them? And what kind of unlocking move can it be for the business when you make it happen? Let's start with the visionary and integrator relationship. And I want to start with some of the differences between visionaries and integrators. I want to go fast. I want to go now. Let's go. We got to grow.
Hold on. Stick to the plan. We have a budget to hit.
But I love revenue. It's sexy. I see that number keep going up and I get an ego grab out of it.
You know, people, they're expensive, right? We want the best, but they're very costly.
Well, I want to hire the best. If I want a VP of Ops, I want the freaking Tom Brady of VP of Ops.
No. Hire what you can afford. You got a P&L, you got a budget, and hello, we have a scorecard to hit.
Budget? What budget? Budgets were meant to be broken, just like rules were meant to be broken.
Yeah, that's right, but look, we have short-term plans to hit. We got a scorecard. We got 13 weeks, 90-day life, baby.
Well, I like to be opportunistic. I want to see what's out there. If I meet a guy at coffee and I think he could be a great VP of revenue or can create a new product for us, I'm going to go after it. I'm going to go for it.
You know, I think a better plan is let's look at a few more people. I want to look at another candidate and another candidate and another candidate. We got to find the right one.
So that's some of the differences. Let's talk about some of the ways we can work together. I think any relationship, and I talk to clients about this millions of times, I think any relationship comes down to 3 key things, whether it's a partnership, whether it's an employee relationship, or frankly, whether it's your marriage. Trust, respect, and communication. If I can trust that Cisco has the best interest of me and the firm at heart, we're going to go places. If I respect his decision-making, I feel good. And if we communicate when things get off the rails or communicate as we go, man, it's like the proverbial rocket fuel, to use Mark Winter's and Gino Wickman's book.
Nothing trumps the same page meetings. This is when we come together and have real, honest conversations, right? What is the best idea that we have? It's not about Kurt's idea or my idea. We trust each other, we communicate, and ultimately it's about the right idea. And when it comes to talent, it's the same thing. What kind of talent we're looking for and who do we want to hire?
Let's be honest, how many visionaries out there dread the same page meetings? It's the same meeting every week. We're just, absolutely. I walk into that, I'm like, man, do I really have time for this? I've got so many things I'm trying to do. But at the end of the day, we truly end up on the same page and we're communicating.
Right, it's about striking a balance, right, between go fast, Kurt's all gas, right? Foot on the pedal, let's go fast. I'm not all brake, but slow down, right? We want to think about it, analyze it, and it's about, striking the right balance.
As we said, I'm a little more of the visionary mindset, of course, and so I like to sell the vision. When we're recruiting good talent, they don't let me talk to people until they're sure that they're good talent, that we're going to want to hire them. They bring me in to close, to be the vision, to sell the vision to the candidates, because I like everybody. If you come through the interview process, I'm going to hire you. I'm going to find a reason to like you. Anybody else? Look, I see some snickers. Exactly. I suck at hiring. And what you're going to find out is the company I started before HireBetter, called the Controller Group, Finance and Accounting Consulting. I told you already, I'm a bad accountant. I'm a bad recruiter, but I'm pretty good at selling the vision and building the team. Play to your strengths.
Yeah.
Cisco?
Yeah, and I'm more pragmatic, right? It's not about saying no, right? We joke around a lot about integrators saying no to all their ideas. That's not it.
When you're a visionary and you have an idea for an integrator, by definition, they're going to do things different than you. And so when you bring them in and they start doing and managing different than you've always done, it's going to create some challenges within your legacy team. There's a whole crew of people that are happy with the status quo and they like having a direct line to the visionary. You bring in an integrator, it changes all that stuff up and it creates chaos. So that same page meeting, that being on the same page together and working and communicating together, vitally important for that first year. So the second thing is being strategic about your hiring. Most entrepreneurial companies, this won't surprise you, are very reactive when it comes to hiring. I need somebody today. We got to fill a seat. We got to go. And that doesn't really work so well when you're trying to build a long-term team to scale. So we want you to think strategic. We want to think 12 to 18 to 24 months out. So even before we knew about EOS, we created what we call strategic talent planning, which is our way of taking your financial forecast, your strategic plan, candidly, your hopes and dreams, and identify the key initiatives that are going to drive those dreams, assess your existing team against that, who's going to own those key initiatives, and ultimately build a talent roadmap to accomplish it. A few years ago, I wrote an article called Who's Your Mike? As we talk about assessing your team. It goes something like this. Mike was your college buddy. He took 3 hours of accounting in college. You started your business out of your garage. Mike was your buddy and he came over and helped you during the off hours. He learned QuickBooks, became your bookkeeper. A couple years later, you have a real business until Mike joined you full time as your controller. Things are going great, but as you continue to grow and Mike becomes your CFO, 5 years later, you're doing $15 million in revenue. Mike's trying to negotiate $10 million lines of credit with your bank. Mike's trying to negotiate an M&A transaction for you. Mike's in over his head and he's overwhelmed and he doesn't want to admit it to you because he's loyal to you. He's working 100 hours a week. He doesn't know how to delegate. He's working like crazy. He's over his head. Question I like to ask entrepreneurs is, who's your Mike? Maybe it's finance and accounting. Maybe it's operations. Maybe it's sales. Mike's not a bad person. We just have to make sure Mike's in the right role. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about assessing your team. You have got members of your team that you've outgrown, and we need to make sure they're in the right seat. So I like to ask a few questions, and I'm stealing from Jim Collins and Vern Harnish and Gino Wickman and others. Would you enthusiastically rehire Mike for the same role? And if the answer is no, that tells you he's in the wrong role, right? What if you had 10 Mikes on your team? What would you do then? And the third one is, what if Mike came in tomorrow and quit? How would you feel? I would encourage you, we actually created an executive integration or onboarding program that helps our integrators and visionaries marry up for that first 6 to 12 months. Because if you get off the rails, it could get off the rails quick. We call it marriage counseling for visionaries and integrators. So the third thing we wanted to talk to you guys about was this concept of next level talent. Next level talent, as I mentioned, you can use a variety of terms: A player, rock star, game changer. What other terms we got, Cisco?
Yeah, so what is an A player? We've all heard that term: top talent, hypo, high performer, yada, 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 game changer, superstar, many names. And it's hard to define what they look like. However, we all know it when we see it, right? You look at these lists here, they're high performers, right? If you talk to their previous bosses, they would rate them as excellent or 1 or whatever the rating system is. And you can talk to, if you do reference checks, everybody will say glowing recommendations, amazing, right? Love them, can I have them back, please, right? They're self-motivating. To me, this is the main one, right? They're self-motivating, they're self-managing. You need to give them direction, but they go. I don't have time to micromanage my team. If I have to manage my team, they're the wrong folks in the wrong seats and they need to get out. Super talented, right? They are, the experts, subject matter experts in their particular skill set, and they're competitive, very competitive in a good way. They like to win, and they like to win. They like the team to win, and if they're on their team, you're gonna win. So you can see other items there, but that's basically it.
So one thing I like to add is if I'm building a team from, you name it, 10 to 20 million in revenue or 25 to 50, whatever your number is, I want at least one or maybe two members of my team to have been there, done that, who have done it before. I don't want to learn all the lessons myself. I want to leverage some of the lessons they learned with a previous employer. So I like to have one or two people who have done it before to help us get there faster. But as Cisco said, these folks, some of them are very junior members of your team, but they've got potential and you can coach them up. But you've got to give them some tools and resources and training to make it happen. I like to add that this move could be an unlocking move if you put those folks in the right seats. I mentioned for HireBetter, Cisco was an unlocking move for me. The next move for me was to try to get out of the rainmaker seat. I know a lot of you visionaries are in that seat, and somewhat it's kind of intoxicating. We like being the guy or the gal. But when Kurt was working hard, revenue's going up. When Kurt takes a vacation, revenue goes down. So I wanted to be a nice to have, not a have to have. So even with bringing Cisco in, he runs the business and frees me up for some of that, but I still don't want to be just the guy.
So as we looked at next level up, right? How do we get the company to the next level? Is we had to scale, particularly our sales and marketing team. How do we develop systems, processes, tools, and build a team that can grow and scale and drive the business forward so over time we can rely less and less on this guy? And we searched and searched wide and deep, finding the right person with the right skills, with the right attitude that fit our company culture. And we found Adam. Bringing in Adam to the team is an unlocking move for us for the next move. Right now we're building a team. And we have Michelle here on the team, and you say hi. We're now building a sales organization that are going to follow Adam's lead. So I was an unlocking move, Adam's an unlocking move, and then we continue to build and continue to attract the right talent. Here's the trick. A players like to work with A players. So bringing that first one is really hard. But once you have one, you can bring another. Once you have two, it gets easier. Once you have a team of A players, people just start showing up, right? It gets easier and easier and easier.
So as you're interviewing, one of the biggest complaints we get or we see with some of our clients is their interview process is a cluster. And so if you're trying to recruit A players, first of all, they're not on not on Indeed. They're not answering job posts or ads. They're building someone else's company very successfully. So you've got to find them and attract them. You've got to have a way to woo them. And lastly, they're expensive. They're not cheap. I like to say you've got really three main levers when it comes to paying for that talent. Base compensation, bonus compensation, which can be creative, and equity. There's also other things, intangibles like the culture, which is very important, the mission and vision, which is very important, working with A players, all those things are very important. But on the compensation side, we can get creative. And you may have to, some of you visionaries, give up a little bit of your company.
Yeah, so we had a client, a Texas-based retailer, great vision, great company, unbelievable business model. They had a commitment to attract top talent to the company to continue to scale to the next level. So they contacted us to help us find financial analysts. They're looking for absolute top talent, best analysts in the country. We found them and we brought them. We sold them the story because it was an easy story to sell. We brought them in. They go through the interview process. And one of their core values is grit. They put these analysts through these grueling interview process. And they get to the end, right? And they make an offer and they turn them down. And we find another one and we bring them. They put them through this grueling testing process. They make an offer, candidate turns them down. And it happened 3 or 4 times. What we found is they were putting these highly talented individuals that already had a job. They were working for building another company. They had lots of opportunities. They were sharp. We had already vetted them. But they were put through this grueling process that became, those folks were like, I don't think I want to work here. You want to tell them the end of the story?
This is my favorite part. By the way, we don't quit. So if you hire us, we're not going to quit. So we walked into him. I say that, but I'm about to quit, right? I walk in and I tell the CEO, I'm going to fire you, and here's why. Your process is kludgy. It's effed up. So we can't be successful with this process. So we talked about it a little bit. First of all, he respected the fact that I had this conversation with him. And so we talk a little bit deeper about why they're doing this grueling interview process with some of these folks. By the way, be grueling, be challenging. You want to make sure you have the right talent, but they were taking it to the nth degree. What they told me was this: Kurt, if we like the candidate, we want to put them through the ringer. We want to show them not just what life looks like, but we need to know that they can survive in our culture and they've got that grit. If we want to put them through the ringer, we're going to treat them like dirt, basically. I said, okay, what if you don't like them? Well, if we don't like them, we treat them like kings and queens because we want them to be customers of ours when they walk out the door. Like, are you effing kidding me? You treat the people that you like shit, and you treat the people that you don't like kings and queens. That is screwed up, dude. So we fixed them, and now they're a very successful client. I think they've made a hire today, as a matter of fact. So we talked about these folks are expensive, especially as you're like you. If you were like me, if you're not quite that profitable, but you know you need something, find a way to pay for it. I promise you, there's enough fat and bloat in the system to pay for those A players. I've got a great client in Austin called Womb Bikes, and we help them see through some of the expenses of what a great hire could look like. And just last week, Matthias sent me an email reflecting on the last 18 months. It's been quite a journey. Hard conversations, tough decisions, great hires, and amazing growth. At the time, I wasn't sure how I could afford a rock star operational leader. Now I don't think I could have afforded not to. That's pretty powerful stuff, and that's the way I'd like for you guys to be thinking, that it's expensive, but it's worth it if you get the right hire. I talked earlier about being in Gino's presentation yesterday and how it opened my eyes to this, more so to the EOS life, and how hires like Cisco and Adam and Michelle and the rest of the team are helping me free myself up. Question I have for you is, what for you would be that leverage as you grow for 21 and beyond? What kind of talent could you add to the team to help you scale your organization? And if you're anything like me, you want to know, what the hell can I do on Monday? I want one thing. You're complicating the crap out of this, Kurt. What is one thing I can do? So here's a few you can do. First one is just start playing to your strengths. You heard me talk about during the interview process, I suck at interviewing, but I'm really good visionary. Focus on that strength. The second thing is ask the hard questions about your team. You might not like the answer, but you probably know what the answer is. And lastly, what is that one unlocking move that if you did in the next quarter or two that could really open up your world, open up the success of your company, unlock your success? So we'll leave you with this quote from Jim Collins: great vision without great people is irrelevant. People are not your most important asset. The right people are. Thank you.